The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What up, everybody? It's the week of October 8th, 2018, and this might be sports. My name is Taylor Cooper. With me, as always, Kevin Reevy. What up, Kevin Reevy?
Hello, sir.
Hi, CJ.
How's it going?
CJ's here, too. It's the three of us. We're doing sports stuff. We're talking interesting things.
We're best friends talking about sports and having a good time. It took me a week to write that.
Dude,
I was really nervous. Could you tell?
It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was my first performance. And
You did a good job.
I'm really happy you like it.
I'm happy with it.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
MBNnetwork.com. You can check out all the shows. Might Be News, Relatable Radio, Might Be Sports, and an all-new Novak and Franz coming out tomorrow. So let's talk some sports. And on this episode, we have a nice little interview with Brian Startare. Talk a little bit of Flyers, a little bit of hockey. Season is underway. Co-host Kev is bugging out. Right now, it's 4-1 Sharks. I'm sure he's over there just destroying his house, just throwing everything, freaking out like a child.
I think I would like to watch him watch the Flyers game.
Dude, it's a trip. He's been over here a few times watching hockey, like while we record, like not while, but you know, he'll be like poking his head around the corner, like looking at shit, and he's all loud. Dude, he is obnoxious. Oh, it's crazy. But I did see that they brought Grimy in for the home opener from the ceiling.
Grimy.
Or Gritty, sorry, Grimy, Gritty.
Oh, I like the possibilities of a grimy.
Dude, that could be his girl. That could be his girlfriend.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
great.
So
She has to have a beard, too.
yeah.
That'd be awesome. Awesome.
Exactly. I'm down with it. So, where should we start, Kevin Reevy? There's so much going on. Major League Baseball playoffs are underway. What's been going on with that? Do you know? 'Cause
Awesome sports time. Oh, yeah. I mean, the Astros, gotta love the Astros. They're like my squad from the AL. They're on the ALCS once again, which is great. They got such a solid stacked team. Perfectly run organization, the Phillies, trying to emulate them with what they're doing right now. I can't turn off my iPad noises. All right, so if you all heard that, again, I apologize. But it's funny because this is actually my buddy Tony Eichler tweeting me. He yelled at me because I forgot to mention him as part of our crew that went out to Baltimore last week to see the Astros play. He was with us. He was I call him Captain America. He's in the Marines. He's like the real life Captain America. This guy is the real deal. Very big man and could kill all three of us at the same time very quickly. And yeah, he's great dude. He actually looks like that guy John Krasinski.
Okay. From The
is
Office.
Playing Jack Ryan, but
Yeah.
Tony's like the actual Jack Ryan, which I think is funny. And also, I think John Krasinski was up for Captain America at one point, so it all comes full circle. Anyway, so that was the noise on my iPad that totally threw me off. But
The Astros have been killing it.
yeah, the Astros. Yeah, they got
a 3-0 lead in that series.
they got a young phenom Bregman who made a comment today saying, "Why are the Yankees and the Red Sox getting first billing? You know, it should be our team. We won last year, and the Astros are an incredibly exciting team to watch, but man, the Yankees, Red Sox, as much as I love the Astros, Bregman's awesome. I love everyone on that team, but Yankees, Red Sox is appointment viewing. You have to have them first billing.
It's like
They're
that's the
prime time.
traditional baseball rivalry. That's as old as time.
Yeah, but the last couple games with the Red Sox and these scores,
Yeah, they're
it's not
trashing
that
them.
much of an appointment to watch.
You don't always have the benefit, well, you never have the benefit of knowing how it's going to work out. The best you could do is set the table and hope things go well. So, I mean, good example of that would be, I'd say in the NFL, these Thursday night games. I think this year you're seeing better lineups on Thursday night. Coming up, we got the Eagles and the Giants. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
That's a good matchup.
It is.
A few weeks ago, was it last week. The Rams.
The Rams and the Vikings, wasn't it?
Right. Ton of points.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's an example. It's not always going to go according to plan, but if you set it up correctly, if you put the right teams on the field at the right time, and you just hope for the best. So I think that's what you're doing with the Yankees and Red Sox. It might be a better matchup or better games with other teams, but you can't turn away from Yankees Red Sox. Too much history, and you might actually get to see a real fight. So that's always fun. I remember, Pedro Martinez throwing old man Don Zimmer to the ground. It was awesome. I loved it. And Don Zimmer, after it, took it like a man. He was like, well, yeah, I came after Pedro Martinez. I deserved to get face planted.
The score of the Red Sox game right now is 3-0 Red Sox. At this point, with the game, the way the games have been going, I would turn it off. I would see what else is on.
You think so?
Yeah. Because, yesterday was 16-1. And
yeah, it is. It's 3-0 right now.
Yeah.
And if they win tonight, it's over, right? Or no, they have to win 4. Is it a best of 7 series? It's 3.
It's 5.
5, yeah.
Okay, 5 for the early parts of the season or for the playoffs.
Yeah. So if they win it tonight, it's over.
Okay.
Which I never really agreed with. I like the best of 7, but I don't want it to turn into like a hockey situation where it seems like the season doesn't really start.
Well, that's what it is
until you get to
after
the
this
playoffs.
series, isn't it? Is it the best of 7 after this
Then
series?
it becomes best of 7.
Okay.
So I do like the idea that, we're getting to the big time. Like we're already at the league championship series. So I like that we're already there.
Yeah.
Which is nice. In hockey at this point, I feel like we'd still be in the first round.
Right.
How many rounds are there again? Let's see, 3, 4, 5.
Basketball
1-2
playoffs
series
are long,
still
too.
not there. It just gets, you never know when it's over.
Yeah. The basketball playoffs are long too. So then the Astros swept the Indians then, and the Brewers swept the Rockies then.
I would have to double check that. I've been in football mode for a while.
Sunday the Brewers beat the Rockies 6-0. They win the series 3-0. They swept them, and the Astros swept the Indians with an 11-3 win on yesterday.
Yeah, there hasn't been that many great series. I think the best you've seen so far of the playoffs was probably the Rockies and the Cubs. They took it right down to the wire with that play-in game. So, and I'm kind of disappointed that the Cubs didn't make it because I think they would make better series. I think they were the better team. The Rockies kind of just fizzled out there at the end.
The Dodgers beat the Braves in Game 4, 6-2 to advance. They play the winner of this Red Sox-Yankees series, so it's going to be interesting.
I would love to see. I want to see the Red Sox go up against the Astros. Those are the two best teams I think in baseball this year. And you got, the Red Sox have just been running away with it all season long, just winning games at an astronomical pace. To see them go up against the defending champs, that's awesome. And these teams play baseball. I hate the term like the right way, but they both play it a game you want to watch. It's entertaining. They score runs. They got great pitching. They got guys that I guess for Philadelphia fans, you might think of like Cliff Lee that just goes out there on the mound and gives you everything he's got, and he's like a tough guy.
I love Cliff Lee.
He's a gamer, and not so much in that one game. Was it 2009? No, I'm sorry, 2010 that he blew it. What I forget what year it was where he blew a 3-0 lead to the Cardinals.
I don't remember, but I remember
that was our year. I think that might have been 2011, but whatever it was. Anyway, Cliff Lee was a gamer. Other than that one game, I love to see guys like that on the mound. Kurt Schilling was that way. Randy Johnson just rise to the occasion, and I think the Astros certainly have guys like that. Lance McCullers, he's been kind of like an ace for them the past few years when he's been able to stay out there. Now he's coming out of the bullpen. You got an ace with just unbelievable breaking pitches that you're bringing out of the bullpen. You could use at any point in time. You got Justin Verlander, one of the best pitchers in baseball, kind of a resurgence the last few years. These guys are fun to watch, and both teams, incredible offenses. That's what I want to see. It's going to be awesome.
That's ratings giant.
The Bregman won't have much to argue about if it ends up being that matchup because, they're both going to be the marquee matchup. So, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's my World Series.
Right.
But we'll see who comes out of the National League either way. Hopefully it's fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think because I heard the comments that he made about, wanting to be on the primetime slot and the top bill. And like you said, the Yankees, Red Sox, that's just classic baseball. And both of those teams were really good this year. So everybody was expecting it, I think, to be a different series than it currently is. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, by the time somebody's listening to this, the game that's on right now will be over. But, that's how we get down. So we'll also see how the Flyers make out. They're not doing so hot right now. But we'll see. We'll talk more about the Eagles later, but I will say, let me just tell you something. So we had a very busy weekend this weekend. We went to Phillies game, 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, me and Jackie. So been to Citizens Bank Park. Then this past Saturday, went to the Wells Fargo Center to see J. Cole in concert. It was phenomenal. So went to Wells Fargo. Then also Sunday, we went down to Lincoln Financial Field to see the Eagles get just dismantled by the Vikings. It was way worse in person. So many mad people. But the point of this is I have an interesting thing. I have a gripe. I'm upset about something. So I am an avid Juul user. They don't pay me. They don't pay us. Okay? But I'm trying to quit smoking cigarettes, and this thing helps, right? So I vape, I guess. But I don't like the big vape things.
Wait, so you're not talking about the singer from the 90s, Juul?
No. Not that Juul. This little thing that you see me...
I thought you couldn't stop listening to Juul.
Oh, no, yeah. See, that's my other problem, but that's not what I'm getting
Okay,
at
I didn't
here.
know. Okay, now I know. Okay, continue.
So, I use this thing. I vape. I'm a vape guy, but I'm not one of those big cloud fucking people, I know those kind of people. That's fine if they want to do that, but it's weird to me. Anyway, I've been able to bring this thing with me to everywhere. Everywhere I've gone. Nobody gives me any shit about it. Citizens Bank, no shit. Wells Fargo, no shit. Sunday, we get down to the link a little later than we wanted to. We end up parking clear on the other side of Citizens Bank Park, all the way 30-minute walk, basically. And we get there, pound a couple mixed drinks, start walking to the gate. We were going to be about an hour early for kickoff. We wanted to find our seats, get situated, whatever. Get up to the line, barely any line. I'm 10 people back, get up there. They tell me I can't bring this thing in with me. New rule. Can't bring this thing in with me. And they're turning people away. You can't bring purses in. You can't bring any bags in. It has to be a clear bag. All this shit. And a lot of people didn't know about all these things. While this was happening to me, dude had one of these big-ass vape things. He's freaking out on the person. He's throwing it. He throws it in the trash can and goes in. I'm like, yo, I'm not wasting all this money on this shit. I got to walk back to the car. And meanwhile, Jackie comes over. She starts yelling at this kid that works for the event staff. We ask him, yo, is this true? I can't bring this in. He's like, yeah, no, you can't bring it in. It's a new rule. And she's like, we went everywhere with this thing. All over with it. Wells Fargo, Citizens Bank. And we're just like, yo, this kid doesn't make the rules. It's just the way it is. But, I was fucking mad about that. Walked all the way back to my car, put this thing in the car, get back to the game. I don't have anything, no cigarettes, no nothing. It was fucking stupid. I was mad as hell.
You know where you went wrong, though? You went wrong when you drove into Philadelphia and said, hey, Jackie, you know what would be fun? Let's park a half hour away from the Wells Fargo Center.
Yo, it was a madhouse down there by the time we got there. It was nuts. We got there. Game was at 4:30. I don't know. We might have gotten there at 2:30-ish. And it was bananas. Yo, the energy in that field was so hype when that game started. Like, everybody was so pumped up. And then that shit died real quick. Like, real quick. And it sucked. We were like in the end zone, top, probably about, I don't know, 10 rows from the very, very top, from the fucking lights, you know? But it was great. We could see everything. One takeaway from that game that I don't know if you guys really got from watching it on TV, Carson Wentz was the only player that I noticed, really, that had the bright, bright, bright pink shoes on. I could see that dude literally from a mile away. Literally from a mile away. I could see him when he was off the field. I could see him everywhere he was on the field. And if I could see him from literally a mile away, he had a target on him all day long. I'm not saying that that's why they lost. I'm just saying that it was blatantly obvious that he stuck out like a sore thumb in that game.
Because of his pink shoes?
His bright neon pink shoes.
That's his favorite color, by the way. A lot of people don't realize
that. I could see him
that.
from a mile away. It was nuts.
I mean, they look loud on TV, so I imagine that they were way louder in real life.
It was nuts because, like, other people had, like, the pink armbands or whatever, but, like, his shoes were bugging. Like, I was like, whoa, that's pink. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Let's go into our interview with Brian Startare and talk some hockey real quick. This week we have a special guest with us on the phone is Brian Startare. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Good. Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about Brian? You know him certainly a lot better than I do.
Yeah, so Brian, one of my best friends, tried to run me over in a golf cart yesterday. Or not yesterday, I'm sorry, on Friday. But I still love the man like a brother. He's my co-author on This Day in Philadelphia Sports. He was an ESPN Dream Job contestant on WIP 97.5 here in Philadelphia. On TV, wrote the book Flyered Up. List goes on and on. Big time hockey guy. That's why we got him on today to talk some hockey, because we don't know what the hell we're talking about.
The season just started. Everybody's really excited here in Philly. So we wanted to talk a little bit about it. What do you think about Gritty, Brian? We've been talking about Gritty for weeks. He's like a sensation.
Well, before I give you my real opinion on that, I don't know if you guys are taping this or going live, but it's 4-0 Sharks in the first period of tonight's game. So the only thing left to talk about is the mascot, unfortunately. When Gritty first came out, this was I posted on social media. I said, I'm not a big fan of mascots, the Fanatic notwithstanding. But, I used to work for the Flyers. I know the marketing levels that they have in that organization. I know what they do for their fans. This was just an incredible business decision because of the fact that the Flyers were not going to lose their core, their niche fans. It was never going to happen, whether this was the Slapshot or Gritty or whatever else the mascot is. And the thing about it was that they brought him out in such a way that it got so many people so pissed off and so mad that it became an overnight sensation. They literally broke the internet.
Yep.
The next day, the mascot was on Good Morning America. It was on the Today Show. He's on late night TV. And now all of a sudden, his goofy eyes and his big belly and his hairy, orange, crazy demeanor, only a town like Philadelphia could love him. So now Philadelphia has to embrace it like they embrace everything, like they embrace the booze, like they embrace the Michael Irvin, like they embrace anything else. Gritty is uniquely Philadelphia, and he's here to stay.
Wow, that's great. I saw that they brought him down from the rafters tonight to a wrecking ball by Miley Cyrus. I was cracking it. Absolutely.
And if the Flyers can do anything, they can mark it and have ceremonies. They need to work on getting the cup. It's been a while.
That's right. My co-host in my other show, Might Be News, co-host Kev, he's a huge hockey guy and he's a huge Flyers guy. And he keeps telling me they're stacked. They're stacked this year. Brian Startare, do you agree? Are they stacked this year? Are they significantly better than last year, or just a little bit, or about the same? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's only the third game in. I mean,
Right.
on paper, they're much deeper on offense, but then again, they just suffered a major injury. Their big free agent signing, Jens Van Riemsdyk, is now out 5 to 6 weeks with that coveted lower body injury. So they're deeper. I mean, when you have Wayne Simmons going down to your third line in a contract year, I mean, you're definitely deep. The problem with the Flyers, in my eyes, right now has always been goaltending. Brian Elliott has been their best player, and it's still not good enough. They have the backup situation. Michael Neuvirth again is hurt. Right now, they picked up a guy, Calvin Pickard, on waivers from Toronto until the heir apparent Carter Hart is available. I will say this: the Flyers are deeper offensively. They will be able to score. They'll be better on the power play. They're still deficient on the penalty kill. And after Provorov and Gostisbehere on the first and second line, you really don't have much. I mean, I like the way Haig plays, and I think Sanheim has some promise. But Gudas and McDonald, they're just playing out the string on their contracts. They're going to be better, but I don't know how much better. And it comes down to this. Go down and watch the team speed of the Western Conference. Go watch the San Jose Sharks. Go watch the Colorado Avalanche. Vegas, to a certain extent, although the Flyers came back and had a better forecheck and puck movement in that second period, which ultimately won in that game. The same problem is going to be the same problem until they play better, and that's a faster game. I think they have the speed to do so. I'm just getting to the point now where I don't think Dave Haxtell is the right coach for this team.
That was going to be my next question, is how do you feel about Dave Haxtell and moving forward? And because he's on his fourth year with the Flyers right now. Is that right?
I think it's his third year. I'm not sure.
Is it his third or fourth? Okay. But
it doesn't really matter. He hasn't won anything. So
he hasn't won
anything.
anything. Right.
I think it may be his fourth year. I'm not sure. It could be Kev, look it up on your phone real quick. It's their third or fourth. But you look at Hextall, and this is 3 or 4 years in the Hextall's plan here. I mean, patience. I mean, they do have some really good talent. I mean, Nolan Patrick is young. Travis Konechny is young. They have Isaac Ratliff, Jay O'Brien. They had a lot of great young draft picks. So the pipeline is really full of excellent players. Carter Hart looks like he could be the real deal. But it's tough to sell patience when you haven't been out of the first round in 6 years.
Right.
It's tough to sell patience when you haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1975. It's tough to sell patience now where Ron Hextall says, we're going to build this the right way. Sooner or later, you're going to have to take that next step. And if Dave Hextall isn't the guy to do it, then I suggest getting somebody else pro-ready that is.
Yeah, Brian, this is actually his fourth year.
Fourth year.
Yes, so I'm wondering, it might be a do or die. You would think in the fourth year this is going to go one way or
Time flies
the
and
other.
you're having fun, Kev.
Time flies. Hey, by the way, speaking of Carter Hart, when's his time?
I think if he shows himself, he had a great debut in the AHL the other night with the Phantoms. I think that if the Flyers continue to struggle just a little bit there, and there becomes obviously an injury, I can't see them not bringing him up. I think the plan is to give him the full season down in the AHL. I mean, he is only 19 years old, so I mean, he is obviously a young talent, and they want to make sure that he can, get the seasoning and get the reps in there. But listen, man, if you can play, you can play. To answer your question, Kev, I think it's going to be a lot sooner than people think.
Wow. I think that I hope you're right, because I'd like to see more of him. I've heard a lot about him, but I just haven't seen much of him. And you say he's in the AHL right now?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the minor leagues. I mean, he was touring around with Team Canada. Had used all his juniors up. He's in the AHL right now. I mean, he's a step away from being in the NHL. The only thing that's really hurting him, obviously, is experience and the speed of that game. And it's a major step up from those levels into the NHL. But if you have talent, you have talent, and you're going to be able to convey that to the next level. I just think they're ready to get him some reps, get him some games, get him some experience. Again, I mean, I don't expect him to be up in this year, but who knows? Let's see it play out and see where the chips fall.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Besides him, who would you say on the Flyers would be a player to watch this year? In other words, who do you think is going to improve significantly, or not so much?
Well, I think this has been said before, but I mean, you asked me the question, so obviously I think that Travis Konecny is going to take a step forward, but the real guy I think that's going to have to take the step forward, or most likely to, is Nolan Patrick. Flyers got very, very fortunate to finish second in the lottery proceedings a year ago. They drafted Patrick second overall after the Devils had taken Nico Hischier, and Patrick played the first half of the season coming off that abdominal injury, and you could tell it was affecting his game. He played very well down the stretch. Started to pick up the offensive game towards the end of the season, and really got more responsible away from the puck as well. I look, and now Patrick being bumped up, although the lines are kind of fluid right now since they're not playing so well after the second and third games. But Patrick's going to get some opportunity on the power play. He's going to get some opportunity to play with Giroux and Voracek at certain times, and some top line playing. And I think Nolan Patrick is your guy that's going to be the player to watch this season.
And most importantly, he's got a hockey name.
Nolan Patrick. Well, it's a hockey family name, the Patricks. They've been around for a long, long time.
These are the kind of hard-hitting, things that I bring to the table with hockey talk. Nolan Patrick, he's got to be great.
The names, the mullets.
You're not the best color man in the league for nothing.
All right, to break away from the Flyers just a little bit, do you think that the Vegas Golden Knights season last year was a fluke, or do you think that they're going to kind of fall back down in the West a little bit this year?
It's kind of two different questions there. You can't take anything away from what Vegas had done. I think they were extremely fortunate to be able to draft in which and way they did in a salary cap world, where they could pick some rather decent players. It's not like the expansion draft of years ago where the bottom of the buck were sitting there and then you had to build your teams throughout. But that notwithstanding, George McPhee did an excellent job, the Knights general manager, in assembling that squad. He had some speed. He had some goal scoring with Carlson. He had some veteran leadership with Neal. Marc-Andre Fleury, who really had some problems in the back end of his career with Pittsburgh, really had a great season. And Gerard Gallant was a fantastic coach before in Detroit, and he really did a great job with Vegas last year. So I wouldn't call that a fluke. They deserved to go where they were. They played fantastic hockey the entire season. They were able to score. They kept goals to a minimum. Usually every game was like 4 or 5-2. And again, they caught that lightning at the bottom, but they deserved to be there. They had a great offseason. They signed Stastny. They went out and made some big deals. They got Max Pacioretty. They're stumbling a little bit out of the gate right now. The Flyers obviously beat them up on opening night, but it's too small of a sample size to say that they're going to fall back. It's going to be hard to repeat what they accomplished last season, but I still think it's a solid hockey team out west.
And you mentioned earlier that the difference between the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference is you can see it almost immediately. The speed, the power, the shooting, everything just seems almost better entirely, even just to the naked eye.
Well, you know what? It used to be cut and dried where you'd say it was Western versus Eastern. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that a lot of teams are fast. Pittsburgh plays at a high level.
Yes.
Washington plays with a lot of team speed. Conversely, they won the Stanley Cup, so there you have it. If you are a team that plays with good team speed, where you can move the puck out of your own zone with effectiveness, you are going to be successful in today's NHL. They do not allow you to clutch and grab. They did not allow you to, any of these holding calls. The real ticky-tack on this. The game is designed for speed and for scoring. Gritty and tough and muckers and grinders, it's not going to get it done anymore. It's not going to get it done.
Need a little bit of finesse, a little bit of, it's true.
Speed.
Yeah.
Playmakers.
Do you think that what do you think the chances are for the Capitals to repeat this year? How was their offseason and everything? I don't really know.
I mean, and then the Penguins repeated, and before that it was, forever. I think it's really tough to repeat in the NHL. I think it's really tough to repeat in any sport.
Yeah.
I just think, look at the Eagles. The kind of headache they're having early, trying to get the offense back, trying to get their players healthy, and teams are getting their best shot at them. So it's really hard to. I mean, Washington does seem like still. They came out on opening night and blanked the Bruins 7-0. I'll tell you what, the Capitals had the best power play I've seen in a long, long time. They moved the puck quickly. Great defenders back on the blue line. They always get solid goaltending. So Washington's going to be in the thick of things. Again, it's way too early to tell, guys. The funny thing about the NHL, and kind of like the NBA is kind of dwarfing it just a little bit, but not as much as the NHL is, all you really do is get into the playoffs, and anything can happen. I mean, the last time the Flyers went to the Cup Finals, they went as a 7th seed in the East, so that really doesn't matter anymore.
Right. No, you're totally right.
So what's your prediction on the year? Who do you have winning the Cup? Where do you have the Flyers ending up?
Well, I don't see the Flyers winning the Cup.
If they get to the playoffs, anything can happen. Do you see them making the playoffs?
Right. It's a little early to tell right now. I still like Tampa Bay and in the East. I do. I think Boston is a team to look out for. They're very, very young, but they are very quick. They have a lot of good young players. Boston's done a nice job of building that roster. So I like the Bruins. I like the Lightning in the East. The two teams I like in the West, Nashville, of course, always plays a high level of hockey. They play with that Peter Laviolette jam. But I'll tell you the team that I like, and everybody's saying about the Sharks and Nashville, but I thought this team was going to win the Cup last year. They fell a little short. I like the Winnipeg Jets. They are a big-body team. They play with good team speed. Their goaltending with Cal Harper is just phenomenal. Winnipeg is a team that, they're a very physical, fast team. And Patrick Laine is one of the best natural goal scorers in the NHL. Keep your eye on Winnipeg.
Great. Thank you so much for all that.
We had the best hockey mind in the world tonight. He knows greatness.
Hockey.
He knows greatness.
Is this an X-rated show? Is this on the internet? We can say.
Oh yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Fuck yeah!
All right, but I was going to say the old, hockey joke. You know why the Canadians do it doggy style? So they can both watch the hockey game.
That's awesome.
Brian Startare, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it, Kev. Glad you're feeling better, young man. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, man. I will get my revenge.
Thanks again for being on with us, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
You got it, you guys. Have a great evening. Take care. My pleasure.
Hey, it's Taylor Cooper, co-host Kev.
And I'm co-host Dan. I have to bring something up that's been bugging the shit out of me about your wedding.
What?
You've known me a long time.
Yeah.
All right?
You've known both of us a long time.
You've known
We're on
Kev
the
a long time.
fucking radio show together.
Yeah.
We are your brothers.
Correct.
Why the fuck was I in the corner?
Yo.
Both of us.
We were the furthest away from the bar. We were the furthest away from the food. It was like, I'm just going to put you guys in the corner because I don't want to see you.
Check out Might Be News on mbnnetwork.com. Also, SoundCloud and iTunes. New episodes every Monday. And welcome back to Might Be Sports. Shout out to Brian Startare. Thank you so much for being on tonight. What's up, Kevin Reevy?
What's going on?
Hi, Craig.
How's it going?
So, we got I feel more prepared for the hockey season now than I was before our conversation with Brian Startare.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a hockey fan in the 90s specifically. I just kind of fell out of it. I was a big Flyers guy. I'd watch games all the time. My stepdad was into it, so we'd watch it every night. Big Eric Lindros, John LeClaire, those kind of guys. Eric Desjardins, Ron Hextall, list goes on and on. But I just kind of fell out of it. But I've been saying over the years that, Philadelphia is a 4-sport city. So people often say they're a 4-for-4 guy, but I am But my fourth sport is not necessarily a Philadelphia sport, but it's a little game called Survivor on CBS. That's my fourth favorite sport, just behind basketball, and it's creeping. It's getting there. It's close.
Yeah, I'm a hockey fan. I enjoy watching hockey. I used to follow it like throughout the season a lot more than I do now. Same type deal though for me as far as growing up as a child in Virginia with no real pro team to speak of. I remember going, I don't know who it was a farm team for, but it was the Richmond Renegades. I used to go to their hockey games. This is like the only hockey I had any exposure to. So like, but as a kid, obviously Wayne Gretzky's huge, going from Kings to the Rangers. I played defense when I played hockey growing up, so I was a big Brian Leach fan. But when I moved to Philly, it was awesome to have a pro team to cheer for. Eric Lindros was huge, ton of fun to watch him and John LeClaire. I always just enjoyed the game. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. I used to, like I said, follow it a lot more. Now it's just kind of a blur. Like it's not really as accessible and or as like pumped up, I guess, as like the other major sports are. I mean, ESPN won't shut up about baseball, football, or basketball, right? You just like never see any hockey.
I miss the little hockey. Remember when they had the little line, like
the laser on the puck?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it had the little, so you could follow it. Yep. That's a hard thing to follow on TV because sometimes the camera is not quick enough and you have no idea where it went until players start circling it.
Yep. No, you're right.
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad of an idea. They got rid of it, I think, kind of quick.
I loved it.
Maybe the purists weren't really into it, but I thought it was a pretty cool idea.
The when they shot it real fast and it was like this big shooting star thing, like that thing was awesome.
But you know what? When hockey gets you down and you feel like it's no longer appealing to you, that's where you just gotta sit back and enjoy Survivor. I'm telling you, it could be. It's a great sport, and if you argue it's not a sport, first of all, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about,
right?
And I won't even give you the opportunity to make your case because you're wrong. So here, I just wanted to real quick see the new season of Survivor, David vs. Goliath. That's the name of this particular season.
I saw an ad for it.
It's the 37th season, and still going strong. And there's nothing funny about that. All 36 seasons so far have been equally great. So this season just started 2 weeks ago. Just wanted to catch everybody up. If you didn't know,
wow, he is serious. There are 37.
Now there's
that's
what's
crazy.
What's great about this show is that there's 2 every year, so it's not
okay. So I was about to say,
old.
that's crazy. I was about it started when I was a kid, not before I was a kid.
They do one season where it's 3 finalists, and they do one where it's 2. Anyway, so if you've been watching this season so far. The first week, Pat, of course, big fat guy Pat, he was medically evacuated. Sorry to say. So of course there was no tribal council that day. But the following week, are you kidding me? #blindside already on episode 2. Jessica Pete gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it was looking the whole episode. You're thinking, well, Lierce is gone. Lierce is obviously gone.
Oh, of course.
And then Jessica goes into tribal council all cocky, being like, well, Lierce, how come you're not prepared? Why are you talking shit? Maybe you should have done some work before you came to tribal council. Now we're going to vote your ass out. Well, guess what, Jessica? Guess what? You're out. Bye. Gone. Lierce is king of the hill right now. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. This could go a number of different ways, but I'm very excited. It's going to be another awesome season. If you guys are interested, they're not a sponsor or anything, but they could be. But Survivor's on tonight when you listen to this tonight, Wednesday, 8:00. I believe 8:00 on CBS. Check it out. And
Kevin will be tweeting live during the episode.
That is correct. And if you're looking for some good crossover between sports and Survivor, there was a guy that was on that. I interact with him on Twitter every once in a while. I'm going to try to get him on the show. He's a hilarious guy. Former center for the Kings, Scott Pollard. He was on a season of Survivor about 3 years ago or so. Really,
so 20 seasons ago.
Yeah. So funny guy. Played in the NBA for a while. His season was amazing. He was he was one of the quote unquote bad guys, where he was I don't want to say he threw like a hissy fit, but things weren't going his way, so he just kept throwing water on the fire, and just like, oh, you know what? I don't think he threw water on the fire. He threw the rice on the fire, which is even worse.
Yeah, it's terrible.
They're food.
Yeah, they're there to survive.
So I love those guys. I kind of throw a wrench in the works, but that's my Survivor Minute.
Wow. The Survivor Minute totally replaces college football on Might Be Sports.
As it should.
I had to Google it because it would have been 10 times better if you talked about a show that was canceled.
I'm gonna continue not watching Survivor and just get your cliff notes every week. That's what I'm gonna do.
And then you'll be ready to go next season because you're gonna feel like you missed out.
I'm gonna be hooked. Well, I do want to touch on. I'm not going to touch on any scores for college football, but there was a story that happened last week that caught my attention because it's kind of something that we've been talking about on this show. Alabama was in the news. Nick Saban was in the news talking trash on the student section of Alabama because people aren't showing up to watch these blowout games. I don't know who's in charge of shit down there, but Nick Saban is sure as shit seems to be. And I don't know if he's the one that picks all these garbage-ass teams to play. I don't know how the scheduling works, but he's on TV talking trash on the student sections like they should just be there, blah, blah, blah. I don't know exactly what he said, but he was bitching about something. I love Nick Saban when he starts bitching because it's hysterical to me. I don't know why. But in this particular instance, why go unless you're playing LSU or one of those teams, Auburn, Craig.
I don't know. I don't feel like a college should have a problem filling up the student section.
They shouldn't have a problem with it, but if you're week after week after week after week, year after year after year after year, the number one rated team, and you're playing all these nobodies for the majority of the schedule, eventually that might turn some people off to the point of, well, I have other things to do. I know we're going to win today, kind of whatever.
Well, I'm sure the part that disappoints them the most, I'm sure there's a ton of college kids outside the stadium still tailgating.
That would like to be in there, yeah. Or just couldn't get... See, that's the other thing. I don't know how it works for the student section.
Yeah.
Like if it's like a lottery system or like who gets to go or how much they charge or whatever. I don't really know the whole situation.
Well, if they're having a problem with it, they should just say, all right, everyone, tickets game day. You come to this gate, first come, first serve.
Come
Boom.
in. Yep. Once you're in, you can't go or you can't come back in or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I just thought it was crazy because they're just blowing everybody out week after week. And it's, it's becoming an attendance issue.
I see both sides to this. There's the global issue we talked about before with the teams are incentivized to strategically play certain games that are obviously going to be blowouts, and it's all focused on having an undefeated season and the RPI, and scoring a certain amount of points, and all this stuff that I don't really like. I don't think it lends itself to very fair competition. I was reading an article today saying on ESPN, which kind of ranked the possible undefeated teams and sort of like cherry pick the ones that if they go undefeated, they don't deserve a playoff spot. I thought that was a weird thing. You've got major college programs that might go undefeated and they don't deserve a playoff spot. That tells you your playoff system is flawed. But we've gone down that road before. I won't go down that again. My whole view on this is, I love supply and demand, free market stuff. Saban's point was, hey, if you're not going to show up to the game, I would like those seats available to people that want to be there to see this game. So, I understand that point of view, and it makes sense. Again, globally, you see, well, the issue is with the team, with the sport, but game-by-game basis, yeah, he just wants to see a packed house.
Right.
And maybe there's something they can do.
He was also griping about crowd participation as well. He said that they just weren't cheering as much. They just felt like the student section needs to step up, which, I give him props for calling them out on it and making a big deal about it. But like you said, I can see the student side. They just beat Arkansas 65-31.
It's hard to get into it when you know the outcome.
Right.
And it's not like that this in college basketball, because I'll tell you what, there are certain games. Let's take Villanova. We know Villanova best. Villanova, one of the dominant teams in college basketball the past 5 years. It's not very often they'll play a game where you 100% know they're going to blow this team out.
Right.
They can lose. I mean, they're going to play teams that absolutely they're going to be favored by, 18, 20 points, totally expected to win. But upsets happen in college basketball all the time.
Yeah. No,
unranked teams
it happens
take
in college
them to
football
the end
too, but just
all
not,
the time.
Not as a high volume.
But you're not going to see that in. I was told a week or two ago that Alabama was favored by 30 points in the first half alone.
Yeah.
That's a game that you cannot possibly lose.
Right.
So when you get into that kind of situation, it's hard to root for the team. It's hard to be on your A game as a fan. So I understand that point of view. And again, it's a problem with the sport, but they've won so much. It's easy to kind of get, bogged down by that.
Right.
You're not going to be on your A game. Already 1 year removed, less than a year removed from a Super Bowl championship. I'm kind of like, whatever. Like the Eagles not doing so well right now, but okay.
Right.
I mean, I don't feel as crazy about it like I did a year ago.
Well, moving on a little bit, I want to get back into the NFL. There's some buzz going on. I know we've talked some local stuff this week, but that's okay. I want to get back into the Eagles a little bit because there's some buzz going around the league. Jay Ajayi's done for the season. It was just announced on Monday. People are talking about Le'Veon Bell. People are talking about, what's his name? Shady McCoy.
Sean McCoy. We've talked about him on this show.
We have talked about him on this show. The trade deadline is late October, so it's coming. 20-something. 29th, maybe. What do you think? What do you guys think is going to happen here? And do you think that a running back is going to solve all these problems?
Well, I mean,
I think one would. I think the other one wouldn't.
I think Le'Veon Bell would absolutely help the team. LaShawn McCoy would help the team. There's a few other names out there. There's guys I heard today on the radio.
Mark Ingram, I heard. But what are you going to trade?
Mark Ingram, I hadn't heard that one, but I heard CJ Procise from Seattle. I think he's fourth on their depth chart right now. You could probably get him for a fifth or sixth round pick. He's another guy that can't stay healthy, but a talented back. My only issue, I don't want LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
Because, and we're talking a lot about due process and innocent until proven guilty lately in the news, but if you look at this thing with LaShawn McCoy, this domestic abuse thing, it doesn't look good for him.
No. And
I hope he's innocent. I hope he had nothing to do with it, but you look at the evidence. It's damning. I mean, here's what we know. His ex-girlfriend, who he was due to see in court about a week from the incident. The incident was someone broke into her house that she was legally allowed to stay in. It's actually LaShawn McCoy's house. LaShawn McCoy wasn't in the state at the time. Somebody comes in, face covered, demands oddly specific items. Doesn't just randomly
that he said he wanted
burglarize
back.
the house. Yes, these are items that LaShawn McCoy specifically previously stated he wanted back. Brandishing a gun, just beat the crap out of her.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of her afterwards. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah. And then everyone involved on her side seemed to know this is LaShawn McCoy's doing. He sent one of his guys, and he made this happen. And then there was a whole Instagram thing where the lady's friend, let's see, her name is Delisha Corden. So her friend went on Instagram and kind of broke the story with a photo of her face, that famous photo with her busted up face, which was just outrageous. And oddly, like we talked about this about a month ago, we all seem to have forgotten about this. The picture was there for a week, and we all talked about it on social media for a day or two, and it was gone. And now it's coming back up, but we still don't seem to register like, hey, he probably did this.
Wonder if they settled or something. Because you would think that it would be more in the news.
No, they
There was
last week
a settlement as far as the actual court case went, as far as her being allowed to stay in his house. I think they came to an agreement.
Well, she vacated the house because she didn't feel safe there anymore.
Yeah, money might have changed hands in that regard. I know I'm not 100% sure she was cooperating with authorities. Maybe that had something to do with money exchanging hands, because I did hear, whether she made some comments or it was, hearsay with her involved about her making comments, that she was pretty sure it was, a friend X of LaShawn McCoy. But these things, investigations of any kind take time.
Yeah.
And the NFL, I have to imagine they're investigating this on their own. We might not see anything come of this until next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, if there's a guy that I think, I don't know if for sure, and hey, due process, innocent until proven guilty, but for my team, if I'm playing the long game with this guy and I'm going to trade for a guy, I'm playing the odds.
Right.
The odds seem like he did this. Why would I trade for a guy morally, but also just, mathematically, might not be playing for my team next year?
Right. Well, and from a football only standpoint, okay, let's just leave the rest of it out for now. From a football only standpoint, I haven't really been following him as much since he's been up in Buffalo, but I feel like he's been hurt all the time. I feel like it's the same deal as Jay Ajayi. I think we'd be getting into the same boat. And Pittsburgh might be able to get rid of one of, if not the best running backs in the league on the cheap. Because A, he might not come back to him this year, and B, he's definitely not going back to him next year. So they've kind of set themselves up in this. I've seen people getting mad at Le'Veon for it, and I can dig it because he is getting paid, but they refuse to give him a long-term deal. He wants that guaranteed money. Running backs get hurt. They don't have a long, shelf life. So give the man his money. There's worse players in the NFL getting paid. Not to say he's not, but I'm just saying, they're not giving him that long-term deal. He's been adamant about what he wants. They refuse to give it to him. But contractually, he's stuck there.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a situation where it's just they just don't connect, and he just doesn't want to be there. And if you're the front office of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this guy's just,
it's a lose-lose for the
not
Steelers.
even sure. Yeah, what are they going to do? So they're asking for a second-round pick and a decent player. Well, we got a couple second-round picks and a few decent players. So what's up?
Yeah,
our division is trash this year. It's horrible. Le'Veon Bell would put us literally in the playoffs right away.
Well, the one thing you get, it's a double-edged sword. So the one thing you're getting with Le'Veon Bell is if he does leave in free agency, you get a compensatory pick. I think somewhere in the third round. But the problem with that, so all right, you think this is great. I can trade X pick and a player, whatever, in a package for Le'Veon Bell. I don't lose that much because I'm getting a third-round pick back if he leaves. Problem with that is that obviously the Steelers know this, and they're in the same position. They're going to receive that compensatory pick if he leaves the Steelers. So it works both ways. It is kind of nice knowing that you could trade a second-round pick and potentially get a third-round back. But do you want to spend... Do you trade for him thinking you're going to sign him long-term? Because this whole thing started because he wanted to be monumentally the highest-paid running back in the history of the league. And before, I think David Johnson, it might have been, signed his deal before the season, Bell was looking for a raise that would have made him $8 million more than the next highest-earning running back in the league. So he's looking for more money than even makes sense. And he's proven he'll sit out to get that. one half year removed from football. I don't think he's going to change his mind. Next season, he's going to be looking for the same thing. The Eagles have to pay Carson Wentz next year. So where's the money coming from? Are you trading him just for the rental for this year?
Well, that
you
value,
could do that, but what's the value on it?
That value might come from just playing with Carson Wentz, playing with Doug P. There's a value to that of being in a secure situation, and not only being in a secure situation, but being in a winning situation.
So are you saying you think he's going to take a pay cut for that situation?
Well, he might,
because Le'Veon Bell thinks about Le'Veon Bell.
He doesn't necessarily have to take a pay cut, depending on what they do as far as bonuses, and
he hasn't been seeing eye to eye with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a couple years now.
Yeah,
those are scars that obviously were made by the Pittsburgh Steelers and his relationship. He could not necessarily, I'm not talking about a pay cut, but he might just kind of ease back a little bit on I want this if he's on a team that he wants to be on.
I think he's a cocky enough person where if you just offer him some good bonuses that he thinks he can do, which could just be a little bit out of his actual reach, you could win him.
You could do it. So let's move on. We're running out of time. Let's do a couple of these rapid fire things, Craig, and then we'll do the go to the week.
All right, I'll skip the big one, and we'll skip the McGregor ones, since that's what pulled up the whole thing. TMZ Sports this week.
God,
why aren't we talking McGregor? Let's do quick comments on McGregor.
All right,
let's do quick comments on that, and then we'll do the go to the week.
I have a quick point of view on this. So nobody's upset about all this. I understand you can't jump into the stands and start beating up people and all this and that, but it's the UFC. Like, this is what we watch, we pay for, we go to see, is a bunch of people beat the crap out of other people. I couldn't care less about any of this stuff.
But the guy that's supposed to clean it up and bring respect back just did the most disrespectful thing that has ever happened.
Right, but now it's like, okay, moving on, give these guys fines. This is not a big deal. Do whatever you got to do. Throw chairs through buses, jump over the cage and beat up your favorite UFC fighter. Whatever you got to do. Fans and athletes alike. It's the UFC. There are no rules. I don't care.
So my thing with this is that the UFC is supposed to be a higher caliber sport than wrestling, right? That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this... they got the shit talking before the fights, obviously, and nobody does it better than Conor McGregor, blah, blah, blah. Quite frankly, I'm tired of it, to be just to be totally honest. I'm tired of his mouth. It sucks. I used to be all into it, and now I'm just kind of like, I'm just over it. But that's not to say that it's not entertaining. When my man comes over here throwing barricades at buses and shit, I'm just like, damn, this kind of looks like SmackDown or something, Like, this kind of reminds me of some WWE shit. Like, I'm just not really feeling it. The only difference is the next day he's literally arrested and all that shit. Like, that really happened. So, like, there's a kind of a different vibe to it there, obviously. Then when Habib jumps into the stands after shocking the world and tapping Conor McGregor out, in the fourth round?
Yeah.
Is when it happened? So the thing with him jumping into the stands, though, that's a seriously dangerous situation.
Well, did you see there was video that Connor's family had to be grabbed by security to get him out of the way?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Because it was right in Connor's area.
See, that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not down with Conor McGregor talking shit on dude's dad and his religion and all that stuff. I'm also not down with dude getting boners on the stage when he's yelling at people. It's like a weird thing to me. Whatever floats your boat. But like, Conor McGregor just annoys the fuck out of me now. I'm not going to lie. But what I saw of the fight, it was good. It was a good fight.
Yeah.
And I heard Habib's dad's going to fucking whoop his ass. I heard he's going to sanction the shit out of dude. Like, he's mad. I guess that's his coach.
Yeah. I don't know if it's his coach, but I know.
Like, he's in charge of something. He's a big deal. I don't know. It's crazy.
Whatever.
We're talking about a rematch already. They're ready to do a rematch already.
Connor called Dana White up the day after asking for one.
What was the name of the guy who won earlier? The match before that, the heavyweight. They just scheduled a fight. He's fighting
Lewis.
Yeah. Shit, he's fighting somebody.
You know what the next fight would be if this was all a movie? Habib would have jumped into the stands, and then he would have run out, and this random UFC fan would have hit him with this like hard right hand, and everybody been like, "Whoa, did you see that punch? Who is that guy? Who is that guy? Who's that? Who's that? Oh my God, who's that?" And then all of a sudden, Habib breaks his jaw. He's out for the next fight. Well, who's going to be the challenger? How about that dude in the red hoodie who just knocked him out? Who's that guy? That's a movie starring Tony Danza somehow. He'll be the coach. The coach will be Tony Danza. I don't know who the kid will be. I'm thinking, just throwing this out there, Justin Bieber.
Wow. Derek Lewis was the name I couldn't remember. The guy who said that his balls were hot. That's why he took his pants off. He took his pants off after he knocked that dude out or whatever.
Isn't he the one that also stripped naked for the weigh-in?
I don't know. But they scheduled him and Daniel Cormier's fight.
I think it
at
was
UFC
him.
230.
They didn't think he was going to make weight, so he took off every bit of clothing he could, and they had two guys holding a towel in front of him.
We are not following the rules of rapid fire, by the way. What do you got next?
All
Let's
right.
do one more, and we got to go to the week.
All right, Dick Vermeil. These Rams are better.
These Rams certainly seem to be better. Yes, they do.
I don't see that. Doesn't make any sense to me because I don't know. Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Falk. I'll take any single one of those guys than any single one of the guys the Rams currently have at those positions. So he's wrong.
Des Bryant, Cowboys should have kept me.
I just saw Jerry Jones made a comment saying that they haven't had a number one receiver in years. Sorry, Des.
Naughty by nature. Eli Manning's a legend, but it's over.
I agree.
It's been over for a while.
Antonio Brown to Valise. Someone stole $80,000 and my gun.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I feel his pain.
Very common, relatable problem.
Jeez.
Ronda Rousey double crossed by Bella Twins and beat down on Raw.
Fake.
But I'm more amazed that made it into the sports section on TMZ.
Do you think, really, do you think that Conor McGregor will be in WWE by the end of his career?
I think that would be more of a time sensitive thing on when his career's over.
Yeah.
To see what the WWE current environment is.
Well, what do you guys think that Conor McGregor has left in the tank in the UFC? I mean,
I think
a couple more fights, handful.
Yeah, handful of fights.
Careers now, I think in the UFC, it hasn't been around like an extremely long time to have a really big sample size, but I think the careers lend themselves to being a little bit shorter, and it's kind of like the next man up. I don't know if you can.
They're getting way shorter than it's not like a Tank Abbott, Ken Shamrock kind of era still.
Right.
Where those guys were there for years.
Now it's just moves right on. And I guess my last question before we do go to the week for you guys would be, as far as Conor McGregor goes, if he keeps losing fights, do you think that his mouth will keep him popular?
I think he could be in the next, well, not Creed 2, but I like him for Creed 3.
Oh, wow. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great, right? That'd be a nice way to go with it.
I'm down.
What's that? Rocky 3 with Thunder Lips Hulk Hogan?
That's good.
A modern day interpretation.
That could be a good plot point.
So let's go to the week and wrap this thing up. So my greatest of all time
of the week
is mine this week is the GOAT, Peyton Manning, for making a hilarious tribute video to Drew Brees, who just beat his passing yards record last night. It's a monumental achievement. I love Drew Brees. His story is really interesting to me, but Peyton Manning is my favorite player of all time, and he happens to be the funniest NFL player in, at least on TV. You know what I mean? And I just think it's great that he made a video for him, for Drew Brees. And at the end, he shows a picture of them from I think he said it was 2002 or something like that. And it's just crazy to see how long they've known each other and, how far they've come. It's crazy. I put Drew Brees way up there. He's one of the greatest. So
yeah, well, I mean, I'm just going to piggyback on that. My goat of the week is Drew Brees. You look at this guy's career; it's insane that he's been able to do what he's been able to do, especially at his size, 6 foot. If he's really 6 foot, he looks kind of tiny out there. I mean, he's having another great year. It's unbelievable. Last year, I kind of expected things were going to fall apart for him, but he's doing it again. Last year, he only threw 23 touchdown passes to 8 interceptions. It was, I think, his lowest touchdown. Let's see, I'm pulling up his stats now. His lowest touchdown output since 2005. So, I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, 2005. That's a long period of time. Currently, there are 9 seasons in NFL history of 5,000 passing yards. Drew Brees has 5 of them. And he might do it again. He's thrown a ton of yards this year. He's got 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year, completing passes at a 78% clip. Right now, I think he's the best quarterback in football. And that's insane.
That is insane.
Because all we're talking about is Tom Brady and Jared Goff and the return of Carson Wentz and these young guys coming up. Drew Brees quietly still doing it at an amazing pace. If he has another 5,000-yard season, there's going to be 10 in the history of the game. Drew Brees will have 6 of them.
That's insane.
We're going to have to start thinking about who's better, him or Peyton Manning. And I don't know, because Tom Brady's number 1. So we can both agree on that, because we're both huge Tom Brady fans. I know you a little bit more than me, but I still appreciate what the guy's been able to do. Tom Brady, number 1, clear number 1. No debate. And then after this season, we got a clear number 2. And then somewhere down there in the top 15 is Peyton Manning.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah, somewhere in there in
me.
Top 20.
Killing me. Oh, top 20 now.
In the history of the game.
In the history of the game.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know he was that good myself till I looked up the stats. Peyton's better than you think.
He's easily number 1.
Well, the weird thing about Kevin's stats is that he ranks Serena Williams above Peyton Manning.
Don't get me started on Serena Williams. Right?
All right. So huge shout out to Brian Startare for being on the show. It was great talking some hockey. CJ, thanks for being with us again this week.
Thank you for having me.
Kevin Reevy, great job, buddy.
Thank you. I did my best.
We'll be back next week with a whole bunch more sports. I'm Taylor Cooper. Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned tomorrow for an all-new Novak and Franz show on the NBN Network.